So this is a tiny Minotaur. It's actually based out of our lore. Okta, the mercenary orc, is actually from a mining town called Well, which is a mix of dwarves and orcs simultaneously. Initially they were at war hundreds of years ago, and then this Minotaur horde came through, and they're like, we gotta band together. We both like battle axes and fighting and whiskey, let's do it. And there was like a long-standing truce and friendship of the orcs and dwarves of this mountain town. Underneath the mountain, there's just tons of subterranean tunnels and caverns, and the occasional Minotaur would still be down there. So it was like a kind of ritualistic practice to send whoever wanted to ascend to fighting status down into these caverns, bring back a Minotaur head, and they'd be kind of lauded as like a hero of the city and able to join like their fighting corps. Okta was several hundred years late. The concept was still going on, but it was one of those kind of fading traditions. She's like, I don't care, I'm gonna find me a Minotaur. Goes down there, is down there for 8 months. No Minotaurs. Finally finds one, and unfortunately it is the last Minotaur. It is very tiny, stunted growth. It's like this tall. The joke is that it was like in a field in the subterranean caverns. The one field with like a beam of some like eating flowers being cute. She's like, gotta take it. So Okta killed this tiny Minotaur, brought it back, and it became kind of legend that she got the final Minotaur of these caverns. And it also solidified the characters being neutral rather than necessarily good. Now they're on the chaotic good kind of tip, but yeah. So that's the backstory.
What was the final push that led you to make this concept a reality?
Depression. It was 2020. I had just come out of the Floyd protest as a medic, like super disillusioned. I was an artist. I was also working at Epoch Coffee, bless. And Epoch had been shut down because of the virus. And so I was just sitting, stewing. I didn't really have a lot of like creative energy, which is like a standard of depression. For years I had this concept of like a Japanese tiny bar, but I wanted to turn it into an immersive space. I think it was like May or June of that year. My husband saw me just like on the couch just being a worm, and he was like, what about that tiny bar you were talking about? And I was like, oh, you know, and it just lit this fire under me, and I fixated on it for 6 months. Hand built this very miniature pop-up theater space in the back of Try Hard Coffee on 11th Street. Made all the sets. It was like truly a one-woman show. It was like working the bar entirely solo, and because it was COVID, it was 6 people at a time allowed inside, so it's like a 90-minute immersive experience with actors. I created a Narnia-style closet that opened up, and it was a mini tavern inside. We would just like add a whole bunch of elements like candles and statues and other things. But it was enclosed in like a very tall school fence with like an old school style swinging door. So a lot of the elements were already there. It was 90 minutes micro theater because only 6 audience members would be allowed inside. And they were also actively participating. It was like fully immersive. It would be myself and one other actor usually. We had like a theater troupe of around 8 people who were my friends. And we did over 75 different quests, and all of them were entirely different, and it depended on who was acting on that time. And they'd be like, yeah, I'm available this day, and so I would write a quest specifically for them. So for this one quest, as an example, Terry the Tiefling was a bartender at the tavern, very problematic. He's like penultimate liar, really bad at magic. So he's like trying to entice this party of 6 people to join him on this quest for a friendship scroll. And they're like, yeah, well, I'm like, don't trust it. The last party he brought, like got wiped. Like, he was the only survivor. This has happened many times, don't do it. And everyone's just like, well, he seems so nice, you know, like, actually. And so we used the whole neighborhood. It was all outside. So folks would have to go through the neighborhood and find certain elements for this quest. So for Terry the Tiefling's friendship scroll quest, they had to find like a sprig of rosemary. We had a map of the neighborhood that was like marked off, like hand-drawn map where they could find and cut rosemaries like from a neighbor's house. Like find and cut rosemary, needed effervescent water, so they'd have to go to Quickie Picky and get like Topo Chico. Find like the scroll being held by the bouncer at Nickel City, and he was in on it, and they'd have to do like a thing in order to get the scroll from him. And so they'd return to Terry with the items for this ritual. He'd make them do the ritual, and then we'd play the Escaflowne, like, Curse of the Dragon soundtrack song. And we had this, like, animatronic dragon that we descended from the ceiling, and it's like, oh no, he summoned a dragon accidentally. And we had this giant D20. We actually created a in-game combat for people to defeat this dragon. And normally, like, our NPCs, like our actors, would, like, be helping the party. No, Terry the Tiefling is like, dragons are in danger. It's like cheerleading this dragon from afar, which is making the party even more angry. And so that's what I mean by immersive theater. Very small scale, 90 minutes. We'd supply like free drinks and bread and pickles as part of like the ticket price, which everyone loved. At the end of this experience, we'd have like a little bit of downtime for people to just chill and frolic and chat. We actually developed a pretty intense reputation from it. So yeah. That's kind of where it came from. I needed to put my energy into something, and I'd had a background in immersive arts. I'd run like a immersive art space before, and you know, I love tactile things with my hands, like ceramics is a background in sculpture of mine. So I was like obsessed. Yeah, it was an actual obsession. So I'm gonna say officially we opened October 21st of 2023, and that was a small private test run event where we had our first Dungeon Synth show. So Malfett, who is a god of Dungeon Synth, was touring from California. That was the first time we opened our doors and had like full true service. And then we opened for real November 1st, 2023. But we've been open-ish since 2020 of September 9th as the pop-up. And then when we left the pop-up, which was kind of against our will, but okay, we had like a year and a half of getting this place situated, as well as like tons of outside programming. So we were like going to Central Machine Works and Elysium and doing a bunch of fundraisers and like off-site events. We created PvP combat. Like the combat we did actually for the micro theater experience, we congested it into like a physical card game, and it was basically like Monster Hunters, where all of our NPC actors had a special attack card, and if you bought a deck, you could for free challenge any of our actors, and if you win, you got their special attack card added to your deck. Tons of side programming, but for the actual physical like this, I would say 2023.
How do you manage to keep the magic alive so consistently?
It is hard. I think very specifically, like I'll speak as an artist, there's a major difference between making art and running a business slash space slash nonprofit. My goal, I'll speak for myself, is like forever keeping our ideals, but like the burnout is real. In order to do any sort of project like that slash this, you have to have like a level of personal fixation that can be kind of unhealthy. And I think almost everyone running a space will echo that. Like literally everyone I've talked to, every small business owner, but ours is a little different because it's like an immersive art space where we have to keep like the actual aesthetics on par with like our drinks menus and our like events. So at this moment, like there's like an incredible mixed team, and so all of the folks working at Tiny right now are like contributing to event concepts. Some of them are lore oriented, the bulk majority are fantasy oriented, and everyone's kind of chiming in. And the ones that fit, like I have like kind of the last say and be like, yes, this works. And the ideas coming out are incredible, like absolutely incredible. So yeah, it's now like a concerted group effort, and it's taken a lot off of my plate of like 65 hours of unpaid labor a week. But I also wouldn't trade it for anything, you know? Maybe a nap.
So how has the dress code policy evolved as the tavern's clientele grew?
So at first we were like, it's mandatory on weekends. And then we were like, oh no, this is actually stopping a lot of folks who want to experience the space and freaking folks out who are curious, but they're like, oh, I can't, you know, I don't have a fit, or my fit sucks. they're gonna judge me. And in the end, it's like, we believe in discernible gatekeeping, which is very specifically not gatekeeping on the basis of class, race, or gender, but we have this thing called the CAPE test. And the CAPE test is, if you show up to the tavern, you've never been here before, we determine if you'll have fun at it, or if we'll even allow you in the door, if you have any level of interest in fantasy. And we mean the full scope of fantasy or sci-fi. And that has been the thing that has kept out like douchebags, actually. Whereas at first we thought having like a strict dress code would keep people out, but it just kept out the people we wanted to actually be here, you know? Overwhelmingly, it's like maybe 60% of the folks who come, even on weekends, aren't dressed, and that's fine. And then they come once and they're like, actually, I do want to dress up. And so they'll come back the next time, like, dressed to the nines, but we want to give everyone, like, an equal chance at, like, experiencing the space. Unless they hate fantasy, then they shouldn't come in.
What would you say is the ratio of people in full costume to just regularly dressed commoners on a typical night?
Oh, commoners. We've got 3 different types of people that come to Tiny. One is the Ren Fair set. Folks who go to Ren Fairs and they want to have like a Ren Fair experience outside of like the stereotypical Ren Fair, an urban fantasy experience, so to speak. And then we have the D&Ders and gamers and just overall nerdos that come, and they're awesome. And then we have the normies, the commoners, and we actually had to kill a lot of our inherent bias towards a lot of the super normies that would come through, because they would be the ones who would be like, let's go! Like, they were down for whatever. Like, anything that was happening outside, they were like, like, super excited, super down to try new things. Whereas, like, a lot of the Ren Fairs had a very set idea of the concept of fantasy, and ours is so DIY, so rooted outside of, like, kind of standard medieval time shenanigans that, like, sometimes it's really hard for the Ren Fairers and SCA folks to adapt. Funny story, I actually don't play D&D. Last time I played D&D in like an actual campaign was, woohoo, 2016. I think a lot of folks, in order to understand the space and concept, were like, oh, it's a D&D bar. But it's not. Like, it's actually a homebrewed fantasy world that's more rooted in fantasy fiction, like short stories, writing, back lore, acting, and LARPing, than it is in D&D. Even though there's a lot of loving crossover. I think I am, in a way, DMing this space. This is like DMing on a scale that is insane, actually.
Have you had or seen any long-term friendships blossom during the Tiny Minotaur's time in operation?
Yes, lots of hardcore friendships. People are hanging out with each other outside of the tavern via dinner parties or events. We have a community Discord that's adjacent to our memberships. The conversations and meetups and shenanigans happening there are really great, and it's amazing. So yes. Also, relationships have started here, and so far so good.
Any proposals?
No, not yet. I'm waiting. I'll cry. We actually had a wedding here. It wasn't a true wedding. It was actually this couple, their wedding was happening the next day, but they wanted to have a private ceremony to do their vows together personally. And so it was like at night, I lit all the candles in the Elven Temple, gave them a blankie and space to just be with each other for like an hour. And it was like me crying. I was like, like behind the bamboo. It was so beautiful.
What do you take the most pride in when you look around on a regular night?
Wow. I think the fact that we're still here. I think like at this moment we're kind of here against insurmountable odds, like financially, culturally as well. And anytime I have like a dark, like why did I do this to myself, like moment of being like exhausted, I come on site when we're open and people are having such a cute fucking time. It makes everything worthwhile. The absolute joy, the friendships that are happening, the fact that this is like designed as a space away from the real world, not for like escapism, but respite to actually relax and chill and like leave your problems outside. And folks do. Folks really, really do. And it's been incredible. So this is our ancient front door. It's from Nepal originally. We weatherproofed it for Texas shenanigan weather. Our patrons will come through here, and we have a threshold guardian who's usually here and is a pretty big security person.
Good evening, travelers. Welcome to the Tiny Minotaur. You guys have been in before.
She has. I have not.
Oh, right on. Yeah, so do you know what this space is by chance?
No, we do not. What is it?
Oh, well, see, this is the Rift, actually, right? You guys are, I think it's called Earth or something like that.
So the moment you step into the doorway, you're kind of stepping through a portal, and the world is called the Rift, and it's a subsection mini portal dimension off of our main fantasy world of Karth.
This is a sentient tavern, and there's all kinds of people here, you know, orcs, vampire. If anybody gives you any hassle, let me know, and I'll take care of them. But welcome in, friends. Come on in. Yeah, so my name is Gore the Half-Tooth. I'm from Well, which is in Karth. I used to be a miner there, and I ended up killing, help.
I didn't hear anything. The gatehouse was right here.
I ended up getting some of the workers to help me alleviate our corrupt guild master of about 10 pounds. It's a really quick weight loss diet from the neck up, because he was hoarding the gold, right? So through my travels, I ran across Okta, and they're like, hey, I heard about you in the Wellian Guild of Liberation. I was like, yeah. So they're like, well, because of Terry left the tavern open to them, it's going to be growing really fast, and we're going to try to open it to the general public, and then this other place on the outside of the Rift called Earth, I think. And they're like, do you want to watch the portal? And I was like, you gonna pay me? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, sure. Yeah, that's how I ended up here.
What's your favorite part about your job?
Watching, I think they're called humans, coming up to the Rift portal, and they look lost, or they may have taken one too many tankards to the head, or than anybody who really loves lords or masters or hates our oppressed friends and family, telling them to fuck all the way off, but in a nice, respectable manner.
Can I get a fit check?
Yeah. So I don't know if you've ever had wyvern bacon and eggs, but every once in a while you crack a wyvern egg and then it comes out. Their skulls are really tough, so they make great pauldrons. I will check your guys' those IDs.
Making me feel young again.
Yeah, I don't know, you humans all look the same to me. Mm-hmm. Yep. Smells real to me. I can't read, so you can show Dor at the gatehouse and he'll get you set up.
Then you make your way to our gatehouse. And the gatehouse is kind of our first standard for hospitality. Folks will come in after they show their ID, prove they're over 21, and then they are greeted by a cutie poo who's like,
Hello, I'm Dorfangal. I am the second face that you see, the friendlier face. Generally, the Threshold Guardians are there to warn off the meek, and I am here to welcome the rest. So I came here to study the denizens and the patrons of the tiny Minotaur, to just pick up not only the words, but the mannerisms, the twitches, little bits and pieces of language that I'm required to tell my Lord and Master Belbabel, God of language. It's a plus and a minus. I'm enjoying it, but I have my mission as well. So the first rule is, of course,
don't be an asshole. Second rule is respect workers and patrons. And then the third rule is don't be an asshole. So we make people read it out loud, and it creates a verbal contract from our patrons. And it's incredible. People who are usually assholes are like, I'm not going to be an asshole here.
There's nothing hidden on the back, but many of our patrons check. Tell me about you. I'm so much more interested in you.
Well, my name's David. I'm a student at Texas State studying history, but I'm taking this film class for fun, for the love of film, I guess.
Me too, I would say.
For the love of the cause, for both of you.
We are a local 501c3 and also a 501c7, which is a social club under the IRS that moonlights as a multidisciplinary art space. So we are a walkable 6,000 square foot art installation, performance space. Tavern, we actually serve alcohol. 50% of our drinks are non-alcoholic for our sober friendos, and then also a space overall for workshops, and generally a homebrew fantasy world created from scratch. No investors, no bank loans even. It's just been us, which has been crazy. We rely on donations from the door, from folks outside who like what we're doing and they're like, we want to support the space. And overall, we've had full, true artistic freedom, which is a hyper rarity for really any space in current America right now. There's a lot of other immersive art spaces that are massive, but they're kind of run by investors, and so we pride ourselves on paying living wage. So our base start is $25 an hour, not including tips, and the general standard is 25 to 35 for pay for people. Our next step is insurance, but we're not quite there financially yet. This is the currency we have here. So each coin is $3, and drinks range from 1 coin to 4 coins, so $3 to $12 maximum. Also our glizzies, we have hot dogs, and occasionally charcuterie and meat pies. We're currently dealing with some real world tariff issues. So I mint all of these coins, and initially they were ceramic coins when we first started as a pop-up off 11th Street. And then people would slam them on the counter like, another, and they would shatter. So it's like, how do we make a coin that is metal and will last? And I asked our fabricator, Wes, who also was the first designer and curator of our drink program, and also an incredible 3D printer, like one of the best in the country. And they're very humble about it. And I was like, do you think we can make metal versions of these coins? He's like, nah, impossible. And then 24 hours later, he's like, yeah, we can. And so he 3D printed silicone molds, like high density silicone molds, and we fired these babies out. So they're a special recipe. And if you hold them, they actually have like a bit of heft and jangle ability to them. But because of the current tariffs, the cost for the metals that I use to smelt to make these coins has actually doubled. So we're trying to like redo what the coin economy looks like here at Tiny because of outside world thingies. So when we first got on the site, this was around 2022. It was just this house, the remnants of this iron fence, and that was it. We laid everything, including like walkways, ADA paths, planted every tree that's here, built these like temporary structures which served as our outdoor bar at first, because first we opened outside only, and then it took around 2 years to get like all of our permits and bring everything inside of here up to code. So generally patrons will sit around here, tiki and relax, and then this is our marketplace. On weekends we have vendors and artists that are local, and they can rent a booth out for $25 and they keep 100%, or $20, and they keep 100% of whatever they make. So it's like an open economy for local artisans and vendors who are trying to sell their crafts. All of these things are handmade though. So you'll notice there's like little accoutrements all around. These are actually like beeswax based canvas prints, so they're covered in beeswax. So, and this is like the ancient method of making sure that things didn't fade in the sun. And yeah, no fading, as you can see. A lot of our flags got pulled down because Texas weather is bipolar, but yeah. So we hand planted everything, laid all of the concrete paths, all of the gravel. The driveway was here, but the ADA path going to the back door and our ADA exit. All of this bamboo we hand planted, and this is from a local Texas nursery called Bamboo Your Privacy. There's like wisteria trying to like come through right now. It's like gasping. You can see a lot of it, like the front facing bamboo died during the freeze, so we're just naturally letting it fall. You can see like the babies coming out, and so it creates its own natural mulch, which protects the plant actually during summer and winter. So normally this is on, but we're trying to conserve some power, so it's off right now. But yeah, brought in this area, and when this fountain is going, it's actually a very cozy vibe. So a lot of our patrons are neurodivergent, and so we're like, okay, if you get a little overstimulated and you want a place to chill and relax and like just like there's like seating all around here, and it's actually each separate room in this area is very contained. Folks at the end of the night will come, or even during the middle of the night, and just kind of relax to get away from everyone. They've got the sound of tinkling water. And then you've got our Elven Temple. So this was built by Feral Fabrications, a local fabrication company, and this was their first project. I told them I wanted an Elven Temple on site to go with the lore, the back lore of the space. And the back lore is that Okta, my orcish character, was bequeathed a sentient baby tavern. It was like, this big. and found this area in the roof of this ancient temple that was just pulsing magical energy. And she's like, baby taverns, lap this up. Dropped it in. Now the tavern's fully grown, you know, they grow so fast. And this temple is still here, of which its origins are still very mysterious and creepy. But basically, I gave them the base layout for what I wanted the temple to look like, and a short story about the temple that hasn't really been made overly public, and this is what they came up with. So this space tends to be utilized for a lot of our bardic performances, our dungeon sim shows. We actually had like a really weirdo avant-garde puppet master from New Orleans come in with homemade marionette puppets and do a show in here, and it was super creepy. Also, we have like an old ancient fresco that's been uncovered. So this mural was done by Samantha Jacobson. Every single element of the mural, similar to the temple, was based off of the short story. And we give artists a lot of free reign to kind of do what they want within soft confines of like the lore. And at this moment, we are actually utilizing some of the storytelling she created on this mural for a lot of our quests. And a lot of things in here are also randomly left by some of our patrons, like the steer skull left by someone we have no idea who. And throughout the space, you'll just find little weird items that people have left, like little tokens. It adds to the mystery of the space for sure. This area is called the Hollows, so overwhelmingly a lot of our patrons will come in here, they'll bring their games, or they'll just come and get a beverage from the tavern and relax and chill. We have craft nights at the end of the month every Tuesday, and usually this whole back area is full of people crafting. So everyone doing like leatherworking, painting minis, small scale illustration, like the full gamut of crafting. We have like this crew of archers that come through and fletch their arrows here, which is really cool. Yeah, it's like whatever you can imagine for crafting, it happens here. And it's really cute because folks will bring snacks to share and everyone's just like over 25, just like, you know, and the stuff that comes out of craft night is incredible. This used to be a living wall that we tended for years, and it got torn down by our neighbor. They're not actually here in Austin. They live in Minnesota. We looked them up. And so they're just kind of slumlording it because the drive to get permits in Austin is a little bit more difficult than in other cities. Like, for example, getting permits, building permits in Houston and Dallas is like a year, sometimes less than that, year and a half max. For Austin, it's around 2 years, sometimes 3. A lot of folks, if they don't have any willpower, will just kind of give up on it. And it sucks. It fucking sucks. But we have some really good friends now in the Department of Permitting because we've like done everything by the book. We worked with them really hard because we were like, we're just artists. We don't know what we're doing. They're like, that's okay. And I think there's a little bit of affection actually because we weren't like massive lobbyists. And so they were like, we'll help you. And I was like, okay. It took a long time though. All of these posts we placed inside of the space as well. And we also stripped them for kindling, because it's just raw cedar posts that we got from an old mill south of Austin run by some 80-year-olds. And they're one of the last folks in the state that have like posts of this size that are just kind of raw. We have our mercenary board. Every RPG town has one. Ours is no different. So there's like real missives for real events happening, fantasy background lore drops, and then there's random weird shit we created. So there was a popper company called Double Scorpio that got raided, and so we were like, we have triple termite at the bar. And this used to be a duplex, and the building was from the 30s, and when we got the building it needed everything new. So all new electric, all new plumbing, all new flooring. These were actually separate rooms in here, so there's 3 rooms in this room alone and 2 in here. This is a load-bearing wall, so we couldn't knock it out. But like, I taught myself CAD design to make plans to give to this city for the upgrades. And then Feral Fabrications came in, so I was like, I want stone walls. And we put in some really beautiful textured stone walls with like actual concrete like molding to make it more realistic. The beams as well they put in, these are actual real wood beams. And they actually stabilize the building more. It's like not just for visuals. This entire process for inside of here, like I said, took around 2 years of just pulling permits and getting things inspected. At one point, like, our electrician came in, precious angel baby, and he's like, I just need you to see something. And he like opened the wall, and the wires hadn't been changed since the 30s, mind you. And so they were cloth wrapped, and they had porcelain fittings, because this was before steel fittings were a thing. Terrifying, and also the coolest shit I've ever seen. It was like we were just living in a tinderbox. This is like our main room. We've only been open in here, I should say, since last December. So this is only 6 months old, this inside. So when it's raining, and when it was raining outside, or any inclement weather, we'd have to shut down. And at first we were doing rain pay for everyone as a sign of goodwill. But it was actually super traumatizing. Still have like weather app PTSD, because we'd have to like look at the weather really closely, like, okay, are we gonna be open today or not? And usually we'd have to do it within like 3-4 hours. So having the inside has been a massive breath of fresh air. We have pop-in D&D every Thursday. So D&D happens in here, or it'll happen outside depending on the weather. And anyone who's interested in playing D&D can literally just show up and get a slot at the table, which is incredible. So it's a mix of like folks who have never played D&D before and are interested in learning, folks who play D&D but don't have access to a party, because getting a D&D party is like herding cats. And then there's Dungeon Masters who's like, I want to be a player again. So it's like actually an equalized mix of all of those folks. And now I think this game has been going on for like a year and a half. And then in here, we have our free library. 450 books, and this free library is specifically sci-fi and fantasy, with a few small sections of like herbology, also some zines, magical stuff. Someone dropped like 12 sewing patterns of like Ren Fair garb, just like in the free box, and all of this is free. So our thing is like, you don't have to bring books. It doesn't have to be an exchange. You can just take what you want. And if you see a trilogy, take the whole thing. Like, don't break it up, because it's evil. We actually have like, this is actually from our Goblin Bard, Dylan Blackthorn, former crusty, super rad, and it's his songbook. And so literally, it's got like full musical notes, and some of the lyrics are pretty terrifying. And just a lot of times gobbledygook. Yeah, some of them just aren't legible actual English words, but the music is real. We actually have an older gentleman, retired in the 60s, who dresses up like a wizard, and his name is Alfred the Blue, and he is a massive fantasy aficionado, and he dropped off 600 books at once at one point, and everyone's like,
Welcome,
Hi.
good travelers. Would you care to try your luck at the Oracle of Small Gods?
So how long have you been doing this the whole wizard thing? Yeah.
About 4 months now. I first did my first oracles on the Krampusnacht party here. Wrote some up, handed them out, and things went so well, I just ran with it. I just wanted to do something to be part of the community, and I noticed that the biggest thing that makes people happy is when you give them strange things. And I can handle that.
Do I just go and open it up?
Oh yes, open it up, read it out.
Shed your human disguise and bathe the glistening exoskeleton within.
There you go. Now that is a truly surreal fortune. I feel good about it for you though.
So what you got?
Fractions. What are these sigils?
1/5, 2/5, red 5th, blue 5th.
Oh.
You got a better one than I did.
Oh shit.
That's a better one than I got.
Oh my god.
Do you have a favorite magical spell?
Most wizards are in love with Fireball. And I have to say, Fireball is a very powerful spell. It's great in a lot of cases, but I tend to prefer the lightning bolt because you can just reach out and touch someone.
Would you ever have a goblin as an apprentice?
Oh, absolutely. Goblins are great apprentices. They can find you all you have to do is tell them what you want and they'll go and find it. Now, sometimes you have to deal with people that don't like that they found it, but I can live with that.
Tell me about what it's like being a wizard.
It's the best thing in the world. Look at my wonderful setup here. All I have to do is scribble things for a couple of hours, sit here, smile to people, offer them a free fortune, and they buy me drinks. What more could you want?
I'll buy you a drink, man.
Oh, yes.
I feel this one. This one feels
Yes,
powerful. All right, let's see what you got for me here. Blessings of the party goblins unto you. Oh my God! What kind of drink can I get for you, Alfred, in return?
Oh, a sangria would be lovely.
You got it, my friend.
Yes.
Watch the horns. There you go. Boom! All right, pleasure to meet you. My name is Zizzy. It's short for Zizzy Beluba, if that makes it any easier to remember. This here is my boy, Venter. Howdy. You may notice he's an elf. Full-blooded, not half-elf. I'm an old round ear myself. Yeah, no. I can because I'm around here. You can't call me that. I'm just putting with you. You can call me whatever you want. So, Venter here is actually a full-blooded elf, as far as we're aware.
Yeah.
And my adopted boy from way back, apparently.
Like a little over 100 years.
100 years. You want to go into the story? I don't know. You know better than I do. I haven't lived it yet.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm full elf, and I'm not 100% sure what kind of elf. It was in the middle of a war. I was orphaned, and I was I want to say 8 or somewhere between 8 and 15. There's not a whole lot of a difference for elves. And my parents had either discarded me or gotten discarded when I happened upon a Zizzy.
It's fucking dark.
Yeah, and Dr. Elm Hulk.
That would be the Professor Elia Elm Hulk, she who is my wife.
They saved me, raised me for a while.
So apparently here's the confusing part. I had never met this fella before. When all of a sudden, there's a knock at my door at our place in Carthopolis. I open up and there's this handsome young elf lad with a big basket. And he says, "Oh, hey Dad, can I do some laundry?" And I said, sure. It's in the back. So he comes in and once he's getting going, he says hi to Mom. And then apparently his little sister, Critta, our shape-shifting monster child, another adopted little critter we picked up. I said, forgive me, I don't think we've met. And he goes on to say, oh, so it still hasn't happened yet. Okay, so here's the deal. Y'all are my parents. At some point in your future, probably not too far off, I believe he said, my wife and I are going to be pulled back in time by some sort of temporal spell. I'm not a mage, I don't know how these things work. Apparently we end up in Karth, back during the Civil War that happened 100 years ago. I'm also not a historian. So we raise this little critter, and he apparently survives the entire time until some 100 years later or so, when he shows up and he's much older than both of his parents combined. But I told him, hey, once you're done with your laundry, why don't you stick around for dinner? I'm whipping something up, and I'm not a great cook. And he goes, I know. And I said, yeah, but you're welcome, because, hey, you might not be my son, because that sure sounds like a scam. But it's such a good scam. I'm really proud of you. So I've just been raising him since.
It's merely coincidence that I am really good at scamming.
I'm sure this is one time he's telling the truth.
How long have you been the doorman for the Tiny Minotaur?
About a year and a half now, since we first opened our doors at this location. I started off by opening the door and telling everybody, greetings, traveler, welcome to Tiny Minotaur. My name is Zizzy. Should you need anything, blah, 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 blah. That got to be a pain in the ass, so I dropped that after a little while. But we have an in-universe story. I was in Carthopolis. I was wrestling a paladin down to sleep, and I was just about to get him into a nap position in an alleyway when he got in a wild shot at my throat. And as I'm managing to put him down, I started coughing wildly, and up comes this black thing right out of my mouth. And hits the ground and immediately scurries off down the alleyway. And I haven't seen it since, but my voice has been a lot clearer. That gurgle is basically gone now.
I actually didn't know this, because I remember thinking when I came over to do laundry, technically for the first time, I was thinking, I'm not going to mention it because I feel like this could be the kind of thing that makes one self-conscious, but it's there's something wrong with your voice. I do not remember this
this like, not graveliness. It's like there's like a whole boulder back there.
He was totally right. It really messed my voice up, as you can hear. I don't know if you're aware that the tiny Minotaur itself is indeed a sentient building. Living thing, beautiful little critter, just one of the many. It's kind of my raison d'etre. I took the job just thinking I was going to be a security guy at the door, which, you know, I've done before. You run on hard times and you pick up work where you can. But no, this is basically more of a babysitting job than anything else.
Yeah.
Turns out our job is very important because we need to keep assholes out of the tavern.
It's like 2 out of our 3 rules.
And it's not just for the benefit of our patrons who are lovely, squishy critters, but actually for the tavern itself. It operates on a, what is it, parthenogenesis, something like this. Again, I'm not a biologist. And it consumes the revelry of the party goers around it. And so it turns out, you are what you eat. If it eats enough bad vibes, apparently it could turn into a haunted house.
I mean, like evil wizard towers, like those don't just like come out of thin air. I mean, I guess for wizards sometimes it does, but usually that building exists, and it's just like absorbed a lot of negative vibes. And then a wizard comes in and is like, okay, well this is fucking rad because it's full of skeletons and shit. But like,
they love that stuff.
We're trying to keep. There's one skeleton on the premises.
There's one skeleton, and there's plenty of ghosts. But
yeah.
But it's not a haunted house because I know it sounds fun, hanging out in a haunted house, but you got to deal with ectoplasm. And when you're trying to scrub something that doesn't interact with the physical world out of your cloak, it's more trouble than it's worth, trust me.
Ghost sponges are so expensive too.
Indeed.
They're not easy to come by.
And again, if it's not interacting with my nose, why does it smell so bad? I'm telling you, I don't. Seriously, we could do this all night.
I'm going to become a wizard. I've always wanted to become a wizard. You know, it's been a dream of mine. And I want to know if there's any room for a sound wizard.
Here is the #1 way that you find out whether or not you can be a wizard. Give your magic away. If you have more of it at the end than when you started, you're a wizard.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Am I officially a wizard? A sound
Absolutely.
Wizard? Yes! Sound wizard.
Hell yeah.
This guy fucking wise or wise.
I will say, like, this is one of my favorite libraries in the city. A bulk majority of our patrons are fantasy nerds. We also love reading fantasy, and the point of the space is to get off the internet. Yeah, we do a lot of advertising and whatnot, but we want to limit screen time as much as possible here. So in order to do that, we're like, free library. If you've got fantasy books that you liked, instead of dropping it off at like the Goodwill, bring it here. And if we have an overflow, we'll take it to Texas Harm Reduction. And so it'll go to Austin's massive homeless population. And folks who are unhoused really, 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 really love reading fantasy books. Like, they'll like plow through them. Almost every unhoused person I know, and it's a lot, a sense of joy and escapism through books is one of the things that can get folks through the day.
We're all so deeply invested in this. Like, we've all worked so hard at it, but none of us nearly, a fraction of what Dana has done. This whole project, the gathering of dozens of local artists and performers, local bar staff who just are passionate about the community here and making a safer space for our just beloved customers here. It feels weird saying customers. It helps that we do membership through Patreon, because calling people our patrons feels like so much more natural.
Yeah.
Because we started out that way. My son and I both started out just being patrons of the Tiny Minotaur before the space opened, and volunteered moving gravel and mulch and furniture. And at some point, just Dana was like, "Hey, do you guys want to be a bigger part of this?" And we're like, "Fuck yeah, we do. I mean, who wouldn't? This is amazing." It's just a unique space, a unique job opportunity, and which seems weird because I still can't believe I'm getting paid for this. Honestly, best job I've ever had. Easily the best security job I've ever had. We've had to kick out maybe less than 10 people over the last year and a half, and it's really just been a breeze. families. Everybody is so sweet. We attract people who want to be part of this community, and it's very easy to be. We're very welcoming, inclusive community. As long as you understand, you come into this space, and we are permissible to every type of person, except anybody who's going to be judgmental, except anybody who's going to be rude and unkind. And I mean, when we open the door, I tell people, my name is Zizzy. If you need anything, don't hesitate to ask, and I'll take care of you. But on the off chance that anyone here does anything that makes you feel uncomfortable or unwelcome, you come let me know, and we'll take care of them too. Because we have a very sweet, adorable clientele, and we want to keep it that way. And so far, I've yet to have a bad interaction here when I'm hanging out, and we're hoping to keep it that way. I have to keep telling everybody it's not a cult, because we don't have to evangelize to anybody. Like everybody's just coming in and be like, can we be part of that? I want what they're having. It's really hard to pin down what we are. Immersive fantasy tavern doesn't really seem to cover it, right? It seems weird, but it's a very simplistic way to put it. We decorate, everything ourselves, all the work of local artists, but this is just nature.
Let me just get him in focus. Oh, I didn't know I was recording.
Oh no, but I mean, I'm a huge cinephile, so like everything behind the camera, super interesting. Like I'm just obsessed with it. God, it's probably
or like a top 3.
Empire Strikes Back. I feel like Irvin Kershner just directed like the perfect.
Did you see it bring Revenge of the Sith back to theaters?
Yes.
So,
yes.
I guess I'll go through some of the ones here. So the Tiny Minotaur began as a pop-up mini theater in 2020. Now in 2025, it's become the first and only fantasy speakeasy in Texas. How old would you say the Tiny Minotaur really is?
Yeah, of course, the temptation is to say when Dana started it, but it's become such a collaborative effort, and that's not to take anything away from the amazing directorial work and behind-the-scenes work that Dana has done. She is a workhorse who has brought us all together in this way that is, I'd say, unique, except that I did share something to our work Discord at one point about the Muppets, basically, and how Jim Henson's talent was to be able to see creativity and potential in places that no one else could see, and bring people together to accomplish that. And I feel like the closest thing we've got to a Jim Henson these days is Dana McKnight Barley, and she really just has this incredible talent to bring people together and inspire them to create this thing. So I guess Tiny Minotaur, when it started, when Dana started inviting people to become part of it, and not just the performers and not just the artists that have contributed, but the patrons are an integral part. As an immersive fantasy tavern, the patrons are playing a role in it, and that's why it's kind of important for the threshold guardians at the door to keep the right kind of people coming in, and keep the kind of people who are going to be detrimental to that effort going back to 6th Street. We're a different vibe. I'd say Tiny Minotaur began when people started accepting and playing a part in Dana's vision, which is probably pretty much immediately after she began.
The tavern's open almost every day of the week. How do you manage to keep the magic alive so consistently?
It's honestly really easy. Like this job is inspiring, and any job can get you down after a while if you get bogged down in the details and the day-to-day drudgery. But when you're getting ready for work, and instead of packing a lunch and making sure that you've got all your paperwork in your briefcase, you're putting on armor and you're strapping on a weapon and lots of leather belts, and and you're warming up in the car on the way to work so that you can do the voice that you do at work, and it's all. It's impossible to get tired of this job. It's like being in a play, but the play is constantly improvised and takes part with the patrons. So I guess it's probably like being in that Tony and Tina's wedding or whatever it is. But
from your perspective, how has the dress code policy evolved as the tavern's clientele grew?
That's a great question, because people still ask me about that all the time. Like, do I have to have a cape? And I say, no, you don't have to have a cape. You can have anything that makes you feel like you're dressing up. But even that's not required. I used to, for the longest time, I was like, do you have a nice tablecloth? Or a tip from one of our fellow performers, do you have a tree skirt from Christmas? You can turn that into something cool. You throw it around your shoulders, all of a sudden, I mean, hell, a towel. When I was a kid and I'd get out of the shower and drape the towel over my head and pretend I was Mad Max from Beyond Thunderdome in the beginning when he's like out in the desert. It's not a requirement. We started out that way, but we realized it was kind of a barrier to some people getting involved. And the last thing we want to do is gatekeep fantasy. We want to open this up for people to become involved, and removing that costume requirement. I think since we've done it, we've honestly got more people in who are Ren Fair folk, who are just nerds like us, who have this stuff that they want to dress up in. I didn't have anything when I started out, and I just built stuff up over time because I became passionate about it. And at some point, I had enough that it's garb, technically. But you want to keep crafting and you want to keep adding to it and making this a personal thing that nobody else has anything like you have. But it's not required at all. You can engage as much as you want or as little as you want. Come by and have a drink in your jeans. I mean, I tell people we do have a lot of travelers who come through from the realm of Earth. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Earth. We are adjacent to the realm of Austin. I think that's part of Earth. But yeah, those folks come by and sometimes some very mundane clothing, but your jeans, that denim makes for a very durable garment. My entire community in Austin now is made up of Tiny Minotaur people. I feel like I have a special boon given to me in that I'm a father. It's not a common role here at the tavern. We have a lot of folks who are younger, who are of the age where they fully, understandably, do not want to have kids of their own. But I've got several ranging from 23 to 5. And so I've kind of taken on a role here being tavern dad to a lot of just wonderful people who maybe had really shitty experiences with their parents growing up. And I'm glad to be able to take on this role where I can call people my tavern kids. All of the folks that I care the most about in town right now are folks from tavern. My tavern kids, my tavern family, just the most beautiful people. I'll often go into another bar on my way home from work, go in and I'm dressed like this. People will often approach me and go, I just love this, whatever this is. And I'll explain, well, I'm a bouncer at an immersive fantasy tavern. And if someone goes, what? What is that? Then you know you've got the hook in. You can say, okay, it's this place called Tiny Minotaur. It's on the east side of town. And I'll tell them where it's at. And say, well, at the tavern, we dress up. We will play these parts. But that's not necessary at all. Come on in, have a drink, enjoy the space, enjoy the beautiful art that has been produced for this, enjoy all the structures that we've built on this space. Because when we first started, it was the building, pretty much. That was it. Everything else you see here has been the work of local artists, of local performers.
We were a speakeasy when we first opened, and no one knew where we were. You got the address basically when you booked the ticket to the micro theater experience, and then everyone's like, what? It's like they had to go through a back alley with a dumpster next to the door. We'd hear people outside be like, are we gonna die? Whereas here it's we're accessible via Google. I think we're still so niche that a lot of people don't know about us, which is a blessing and a curse because we can keep the vibes flowing, but we do need to have an influx of humanity.
We're a space for nerds who love fantasy. Any of us who feel like outcasts, who live in a world clearly not intended for us. Come on into a space where things are different. And that's how I explain Tiny Minotaur to people. We try to create a unique space where people can be themselves and feel comfortable in that and welcome.
Oh God. Okay, this is something I think about randomly. I don't consider myself a capitalist, but I think there's a balancing act of wanting to pay people a living wage, wanting to keep doors open, and also having to pay the bare minimum to do that. Our goal is never to make more than what we need. We'll never overcharge people if we can help it for access to the space and doing things here. I think I had a base minimum budget of $500K a year, what would happen with that? And it would be paying our artists more. 100%. I would up the bard rates, I would up our employee actor rates. I would commission way more projects happening on site, way more paintings, way more textures. Like, the only thing that stopped us from doing that level is finances, even though we're kind of already doing it on like a smaller scale. But that would be the dream. If you love fantasy, you'll love the Tiny Minotaur. If you're cool with like a diverse range of humans on site, you'll love the Tiny Minotaur. If you like good food, you won't like the Tiny Minotaur. We only got glissies. But if you like good beverages, we got that. We really believe in like hospitality as a service. Your goal in coming to the Tiny Minotaur from us is that you have a good time. Doesn't matter who you are in terms of like gender, class, race. We generally treat everyone the same unless you look like you're going to be a douchebag to other people. And even then we're like, we'll still give you a chance. It's hard out there. It doesn't need to be in like our spaces of play. We've been talking about like, you know, there's like the first, second, and third spaces and fourth spaces, but we're a fifth space. So first space is like your home, second space is like your church, third space is like a coffee shop or like a music venue or something like that. Fourth space was coined fairly recently by tech bros who were creating a live-work situation in San Francisco. And the fifth space is like an immersive space with an intention. Our intention is to make art. And the amount of folks who've been creatively harnessing and doing projects here of their own volition, just members who are like, oh, I'm coming in here to work on my short story, or I'm just coming in to relax and frolic with friends. Like, I think it's one of the softest spaces I've seen in Austin. I think softness is often vilified in our current like cultural fabric right now. When I say softness, very specifically, it's not like, you know, being weak. Everyone coming into the space, everyone is dealing with some sort of fucked up situation. Everyone, whether it's like school or work or family or just like the full gamut of economics right now. Like, a good deal of our patrons are working like federally and losing their jobs. Our goal is to make sure that everybody who comes in knows that they can walk out with something softer than they came in with, if that makes any sense.